Hey, Daisy.
Hello. So Peter's just mentioned to me doing the co-leads.
Yeah, so I'll explain it like this.
Are
I
you
know,
good with co-leads?
well, let's define it because I know he says co-leads, but I want to make sure we're on the same page of it.
So what I would consider a
Mhm.
co-lead is
Equal say.
one person from LSPD, one person from BCSO. They hold the same rank. They have to work together to run the department. And
Easy.
then when one person is like not around or whatever, they kind of pick up the
Hmm.
slack for it. But basically there's one person from each department that represents the interests of that department within the
Yes,
certification.
I am totally down with that. I know we spoke really quickly, so when I talked to Peters afterwards, and I was explaining the reasons why I want this, I was like, listen, I don't even care if there's co-leads. My main desire is I want y'all to, I look at it like this, right? LSPD is responsible for the vast majority of San Andreas, right? Not by land, but by per capita, the amount of crimes, etc. So if the people, co-lead solves the issue because you need that level of autonomy, and it solves this, like, to what sounds to me like clear-cut bias, right? And-
Yeah, I mean, definitely when like all of that shit was going on between LSPD and BCSO and they weren't coming down to the city and stuff. There was 100% bias happening. I believe, or I know
yeah,
that since that has been resolved,
yeah,
people have been, getting certed again. But
I
no, it
believe
was
it.
it was it was 100% happening before.
Yeah, and
Like they were inserting LSPD.
yeah, and I want to get ahead of it, right? Like trusting, because we don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Like
No, but I
gen.
had this
Mhm.
conversation last night with somebody.
Yeah.
I think it was Opal,
Mm.
and she was like, "Well, what are we doing? BCSO, they're getting fucked." And I'm like, "It doesn't matter what happens with BCSO. What matters is that LSPD, no matter what, can stand on its own. We
That's exactly it.
we need to stop relying or worrying about BCSO, and we just need to
Yep.
worry about our own department and that our own department is in a good state.
And
Uh,
that's
because
exactly it. Yep.
because like what happened before, um, I'm not saying that they will do this, but I do not trust BCSO to not have another fit and say we're not going to patrol in the city anymore. So
Exactly.
I want to be prepared for if and when that happens.
That we're on the same page, and that's like I'm cool with co-leads. That works too. My
Because then things can keep moving
key
regardless of whether or
of
not
what
they're in the
happens
city.
exactly. So like,
Because
let's say tomorrow, I'm gonna be very just straightforward with you. It would not surprise me if BCSO gets downsized by 50%. It would not surprise me if Nakota, Ventura, Cassidy are out of a job tomorrow. That is transparently the path that they themselves are choosing. And it might not happen, but that's where I don't know how much has happened in the last 72 hours, but it's pretty
I
bad.
know I know about the warrant and shit and like what I
And the 3
explained to Bone.
DAPs and
I know that
oh,
like Bruce and Aspen both got demoted. I don't know really any further than
oh,
that.
yeah,
But what I told Bones is I said, look, BCSO represents or it operates like within the county that Pred is representing, and you guys served him a warrant that didn't have probable cause. That's a huge red flag. And I told Bones straight up, I said, I think Pred's anger is warranted.
Of
I would be
course.
mad too. Like, if we
Yeah.
tried to do that shit to Nino, um,
Oh,
he,
I'd throw you out of a
it
plane.
would, yeah, like it's completely understandable where Pred is coming from because now has to question, does the department that represents my county know how to do their job? So I
Yeah.
told Bones, I said, you need to have a conversation with him. And if this is a one-off
She
thing
almost cracked it.
and you can show him
Yeah.
like through other multiple reports that this was like, I mean, like when it comes down to it, Bruce was being malicious. Like
Yeah.
as much as I don't think that like Cassidy and Bones want to acknowledge it, Bruce was being malicious.
Yeah.
It was he was doing it because it was Pred.
Yeah.
And like that warrant should have never been signed. And I told Bones, I said, you gotta be political at this point. Like, you need to work with Pred, and you need to not tell him just to fuck off. And if you want to stay the sheriff, like he has to trust you to do your job, and you've shown him that he can't.
Daisy, Bones is already cooked. I hate to tell you.
You think it's done?
100%. Because, listen, me and Bones had a really good hot to hot. I think the day before the results or afterwards. And I think Bones is a good guy. And I think, and I told him too, I'm like, I think that he has a lot of people that he cares about and has brought into his department. And he has a feeling of he needs to protect them from outside forces. Unfortunately, sometimes people in your circle are going to do things that are inappropriate, and you can't always protect them because now you're dying on their hill. And I went further and said, like, a lot of the discontent between, like, him and I are through other people. Like, if instead him and I were having one-on-one conversations about the concerns I had, instead of doing it through Cassidy, doing it through Ventura, etc., things probably would not have bled so bad because most people's disagreements are usually simple, and then they get blown out of proportion by those who either have ulterior motives or have like started out of control. So now the leaders on both ends of the spectrum are hearing the most extreme versions of each opinion.
Like Bones doesn't want to believe like Ventura is a little snake and he stirs his little heart out as much as he possibly can, and Bones doesn't want to hear it. Like, I told Bones about this cert thing. I was like, Ventura overcooks on his stirs, and he stirred the mayor. What do you expect is going to happen?
Yep.
But he refuses to see it, and I'm just like, when you have people like that who are speaking on your behalf, like, it's already done,
Yep.
Like, when I talk to Bones one-on-one, it's always great. We always manage to, like, we don't always see eye to eye, but we always manage to, like, come up with a solution, But, like, it literally has to be Bones and I that talks one-on-one, because if Cassidy or Peters or anybody else gets involved in the situation, it immediately kind of falls apart.
I would agree with that. I think Bones is probably cooked because they didn't do any. They just gave the guy 3 daps, and I heard about this demotion shit, but that's like a little too late. You know what I mean? If Pred is anything like me, which I feel like he is, he knows that those demotions were a way to save their neck, and I don't see. They're going to be out of a job, whether it's this week or another 2-3 weeks. This is going to happen again. And I don't know what to say. I will say this. I have very little remorse either, because, and I did tell Den this. Do I think Den fucked some shit up with the raid? Yes. However, he is not solely responsible. I'm going to point some things out. Number one, I know that Bruce Collins was involved. I know Loki was involved. The fact that these individuals, alongside others, were there to assist with a raid and did not. Now, should Dan have overseen it? Yes. But if you, on one hand, are there to assist as a department, as this UPD bullshit that keeps coming out of their fucking mouth, and then drop the ball, but instead of helping to pick it up, you're now using that as leverage to fuck over Den and the LSPD. Well, me as a lawyer is going to say, this sounds like, strangely, like felony obstruction of justice. It smells like some fucking felony obstruction of justice. And please tell me I'm wrong. But if I went into a raid as a law enforcement officer, had responsibilities, and instead of correcting those as a part of the investigation, I instead used it to go after someone's job, then did you intentionally do it?
It's like, and that's why I have no sort of sympathy for Ventura for anything, because he does it every single time. The shit that he pulled with Peters multiple times, and now with Denzel, like, it's just
It's not police-like.
No, and I told Bones, I was like, you need to rein him in, because I am so sick and tired of dealing with this shit with Ventura. It's every fucking day.
I'm going to take it a step further. It's not just him. And I'm being rather frank. And keep in mind, Moss, do I stir? Yes. But I'm being as genuine as I can right now, especially with this. Is I have sat through countless PD meetings over the last month. And I'm going to point some things, and I swear by each one of these things. Ventura has told us that the Marshals are his direct chain of command. I've already dealt with this with the fine reduction bullshit. You know damn well he went to the Marshals. I'm going to take it even a step further than that. Is that I, in these meetings, have witnessed Marshals talking down to your officers over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, the Marshals. What I told Maxwell the other day is.
Well, wait, let me just complete the thought.
Going.
Is I finally had enough of it when on Tuesday I heard Espinosa go in there and tell cops that, and he did make an announcement. Trig was there. Is if you see like a drug ping, he said some dumb shit unintentionally, where it was kind of like, if you do da 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 da, you have PC for this charge. And he did it, and Trig told him to write something up, but he went up there and said it again. And I asked him, I'm like, why do you guys keep coming up here? Are you going to offer training? Because you keep coming up here and giving like a backwards, if X, Y, and Z, you have PC, but you're saying in such a scuffed way, you're going to get cops to go and illegally charge people with stuff. Why aren't you going to why don't you just explain it off instead of do your job shit? That's not constructive. Anna, who is one of the Marshals, said that it's not their job to train, and it turned into a big argument outside, which Espinosa finally agreed with. Is they said that they are here to oversee. They cannot be coming into your meetings and telling your cops how to do something when it's in a dog shit way, when they're feigning their own. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, this is how you do this, but I'm not going to tell you how. It's so dangerous.
And what I told Maxwell is that the Marshals are not there to make you a better cop. They are there to prosecute you.
So my question is,
every interaction you have with them, you better keep that in mind.
Yes. And I want, this is my concern, is why is it that the Marshals crawl out of the woodwork to assist with investigations for everything. How many times have they stepped into your shit in the past? Where are they now?
They
with
don't have
Den's-
anything to. They don't have anything to do, Nino. This is literally. They have to. They have to keep themselves entertained somehow.
What I'm trying to say, Moss, is why are they silent on this situation? You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I mean, there is an absolute bias that they hold.
Have you spoken to
for
Carmine?
No. But we all know they have a bias towards BCSO. I mean, fucking Angel called me disgusting. Not directly, but she called me disgusting like
Wait,
2 days
when?
ago.
Why?
It was during the legislative audit for the fucking expungement thing.
Why?
She said that any person you know, that would even consider you know, proposing that a heinous act should be part of the expungement process is a disgusting person. I mean, it was directed at me. Like, there's no doubt about it.
I'm dead.
What?
On
Where
the-
are you?